What's up everyone? It's been a while and I'll apologise for the lack of content, but to be honest I just wanted to focus on the silver M3. So if you're a regular viewer of this channel you'll notice the silver M3's gone, and the basis of that really was to be a donor car for my E30. So we're going to be building an S54 E30 and I've got some interesting parts coming, so it should be pretty fun. But I really wanted to celebrate the last breath of the M10, so I've got a can of fuel and we're going to stick the car on the dyno, so just for a bit of fun really, but it's also a reference point because I have got plans for this engine in the future. So the car, I think it's a pre-cat car because it's quite early, so I think they made about 90 horsepower from factory, and I'm expecting it to have lost a little bit, but it's a fairly lowish mileage for the time. If you're going to lose anything really, it's through poor maintenance and bad valve clearances, just out of spec tolerances really. And people talk about how sort of old engines lose power, so I'm quite interested to see, just as a reference, how much power this 4-cylinder 35-year-old BMW engine has lost. So let's bang it on the dyno and find out. I don't think anyone's ever been this excited to put an automatic 4-cylinder E30 on a dyno before. I just think it's fun. So we've paid our respects to the M10 now, and it's ready to be removed from the E30. I'm pretty pleased with how it's done. I think 97 horsepower for an engine of its age is pretty impressive. Obviously there's a little bit of variation between dynos and different things that can give you different results, because the dyno really is more of a tuning tool than it is to give you power figures. But what I wanted to do was to benchmark how much power the E30 made, because it's going to more than triple, which is a little bit ridiculous, but it should be fun. The M10 itself, I mentioned I want to do something with it, so I'm actually looking to double the horsepower of the M10 as well, which is quite difficult, but for those of you who are aware, you'll know about the M10. It's a huge thing for BMW. It's a footprint into sort of mass production beyond all of their cars, and it really helped them move forward as a company, because the 2002, the E21, the E30, E28, it was in so many different cars, and it really is an excellent engine in terms of reliability, but in terms of modern power, it's way off, obviously. But for those of you who don't know, in motorsport, it actually featured parts of the M10, so mostly the block, was featured in Formula 1, Formula 3, touring cars, which would be sort of DRM and later. So it's a pretty impressive engine. The blocks are really strong. The one type that was used in the Formula 1 engine peaked, I think, 1300 horsepower in testing. Obviously it had to be reined back for actual racing, for regulations. But there's a 16 valve Formula 3 engine, which is referred to as the M12, which is again based off the M10. They can make around, I think they made up to about 320 horsepower naturally aspirated from a 2 litre. So it's got some history, and it then went on, of course, to be developed into the S14, which is the E30 M3 engine. So I do want to make something with the M10, because it's an integral part of BMW's history, and I think it will make something pretty cool. So I'm looking to double the power of that. I was aiming for 200, and it made 97, so if I do double the power, I'll be happy, and anything over 200, fingers crossed, let's see if we can do it. So as always, today turned into somewhat of an event, because the battery was dead and I had to put fuel in the car and all the usual stuff. But thanks to Kieran at Dyno Remaps, because he was very patient and also helped get the car started with his jump pack. I did try to charge the battery for a while, but we ran out of patience because it was taking way too long. As I mentioned, I've got some E46 M3 stuff left. I've got an SMG box, the pump, actuator, all the relevant sensors, etc. So if anyone needs that, I've also got the ECU for that. I've got a couple of doors which I'm willing to give away pretty cheap, because I want them out of the way. So if anyone needs any E46 doors, basically come and get them, and you can have them for like 20 quid. What else have I got? Rear bumper and a few other bits, really. Nothing too major. Maybe if you've had a bit of front end damage, I think I've got like a washer bottle and a few brackets and extra bits, but I give quite a lot of it away to the guy who bought the front bumper, because he had a bit of an accident and I felt bad for him. I've got an airbox, I've got a prop shaft, suspension, anti-roll bar for the front, brakes, if anyone needs brakes, and a sunroof with the motor and all that stuff. So as far as the E46 stuff goes, that's what I've got left, and if anyone needs anything, let me know. And I've also got a M52 B28. That's an E30 swap, so it's got the correct sump for an E30. Those things are quite valuable and rare now. I've got the loom, which is adjusted, manifolds which are adjusted for an E30, an intake, the MAF, basically everything apart from a gearbox and arms. So if you want this thing, I will do a deal on this, and I just kind of want the space at the minute so I can get on with this car. The E30's done me proud, I'm happy with it. And like I said at the start, I apologise for the lack of content. Obviously I explained I wanted to get rid of as much of the M3 stuff as possible, and I'm actually heading out to Berlin next week for my birthday, so I'll be back after Christmas, but straight after Christmas we're gonna plough into this thing and get the engine out, get the box out, strip everything down, start preparing the engine bay. I'm going to do a battery relocation to the back, so I'll do a video on that. I've got a ton of stuff to do. I've got more than enough stuff to do to keep us busy, so I shall see you after Christmas. And I will get a haircut and shave because I look homeless. I am fully aware of that.